All right, I didn't realize we were scheduled for 12:30. I thought we were scheduled for 12:35. So let's go ahead and get this going. Um, let's see. Mic levels appear to be low. Okay, should be working. If anybody jumps on and has any trouble hearing me, feel free to drop a comment in the chat to make sure I can make any necessary adjustments. Um, so this is the first live that we are doing in a long time. I have not been paying enough attention to YouTube. So to any and everybody in our audience, let's see if I can get this out of a glare. Any and everybody in our audience, for Morillo's Monopoly moves, uh, definitely want to let you all know that we're going to be doing this summer series all summer long. Going to be coming on here daily at 12:30 p.m. and essentially just bringing to you things that are developing here in Central Florida, answering questions that may be coming up throughout the lives, and keeping y'all up to date and up to speed as to what's happening here in Florida. And with that said, today we're going to be talking about NeoCity. NeoCity has been coming up a lot in conversations. It's nothing new. In fact, I have caught wind of NeoCity long before 2018. In 2018, one of my then mentors had some participation in raising capital for the project, and I got a little more insight as to what was going on, and it's definitely long overdue for me to cover it. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, I am going to pull some notes here, and essentially, we're going to be dubbing this series the Florida Growth Watch. And for those of you who are new to the channel, don't know me, don't know who I am, I'm Robert Kenneth Morillo with Aroa Real Estate. And this is day one of our brand new daily summer live stream series. So we're going to be here every single day, 12:30 Eastern time. We're going to be sitting down right here talking about what's happening in Central Florida and beyond. Not the hype, no headlines. We're going to be getting into what's actually happening. In some cases, I may be on site somewhere. In other cases, I will be here at the home office and just giving you the real deal story. My daughters may or may not be in the background. They're on the other side of the house right now watching TV, and they may just pop in on me and ask me for something. There may be something out of reach. Valentina's behind me taking a peek at what I'm doing now. So please, just understand you might catch a couple giggles, a couple loud screams, and random tickle moments just like that. That was not an invitation for her to jump on, but she did it anyways. So, for those of you who may be out of state and families who may be considering relocating to Central Florida or the state of Florida in general, we're going to be sharing information about what matters to you, what matters to your business, what matters to your future here in the state of Florida. If you're an agent watching, you're more than welcome to tag along as well. We're going to be sharing some intelligence things, of value to you and your audience, and we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So let's see. All right, so let's break things down as to what the area is first, right? So first we have Osceola County. Osceola County hosts several cities and or towns, some of which are Kissimmee, which is where I first moved into several years back, or more than several years back. I guess you could say a couple decades ago. And then we have St. Cloud. So we're gonna touch up on NeoCity and its origin in the heart of Kissimmee, right? So NeoCity is basically a 500-acre technology campus located in Kissimmee, Osceola County, Florida, right? It's Kissimmee, for those of you who don't know, is just south of Orlando, and oftentimes, when people are talking about somewhere in Kissimmee, they still refer to it as Orlando, or in other words, the greater Orlando area, right? So it launched. So NeoCity had actually launched, like I mentioned, my mentor had a part, or I came across I came across a story of his participation in the capital raising back in 2018, but NeoCity officially launched in 2014. Okay, and its intent was to begin the process of diversifying the economy here in the Central Florida market, um, beyond the tourism. You know, there's Silicon Valley, and ladies, you may be a little bit too loud at the moment. Okay, so there's Silicon Valley, and that's like the closest thing as far as from the vision and the conception of Neo City. The closest thing that I can compare it to is it being the Central Florida or Florida version of Silicon Valley. Um, and it's not going to be a strip mall or an office park or anything like that. It is specifically a master plan, the same way you'll see a master planned community where they're going to build several thousand homes, a school, commercial plaza inside of it. This is a master planned technology district. They gave it its own street called Neo City Way. It's got its own STEM high school. It's going to have its own central plaza, walking trails around the retention lake, an urban farm, neighborhood parks, and a world-class research facility, all at its core, right? Um, and at the heart of Neo City is the Center for Neovation, right? And it's basically a semiconductor fabrication facility that has brought in some key partnerships, and essentially laid the foundation for the reputation of Neo City, as far as what it is and what it's going to be, right? It's going to be a global technology player. So, um, let's see here. Okay, so as far as semiconductors are concerned, right? That's like textbook talk, pretty much, right? So just to simplify what a semiconductor is, right? Like the chips inside of our devices, right? The phone, the laptop, medical devices, military technology, right? It's basically that's what it is, right? And the US is making full-blown effort to bring jobs, bring manufacturing back into American soil, and that's part of the stimulation that's going to be happening as a result of Neo City being what it is, right? So the Center for Neovation is essentially 109,000 square foot semiconductor manufacturing facility, and the primary tenant in place, it's being operated by Skywater Florida, right? So there is a 35,000 square foot of clean room space, right? With ultra purified water and air systems. Um, there's anti-vibration technology designed to produce the next generation microchips. And I mean, the building is already existing, it's operating, and it's attracting a lot of capital from all around the world. Okay. So, um, all right. As far as that capital is concerned, right? This is part of when Joey, my close friend and YouTube coach, or I don't know if let's not call him a coach. I don't know if he's considering himself a YouTube coach, but YouTube consultant. When he brought this to my attention as far as something to talk on, pretty much about 3 weeks ago, Osceola County announced that there's going to be about $470 million invested into this semiconductor operation, right? And that's going to be coming from Elspies Inc., which is based out of South Korea. And they plan to establish its U.S. headquarters and manufacturing operations within the new technology district, which again, it started in Kissimmee, Florida, and it's going to expand into St. Cloud. Plans have already been announced. So, what I share and discuss about the plans here in St. Cloud will be in a future episode, soon, soon to come. Um, so it won't be anything fresh. It's something you could look up right now, and we'll dig a little more into that in a future live stream. So um, let's see here. Okay, on top of that, on top of a deal announced just a couple months earlier, a $1.2 billion tech hub in Kissimmee expected to create more than 16,000 jobs focused on semiconductor research and innovation. So in the last 90 days alone, we're talking about well over, I'm going to go ahead and say $1.5 billion announced in investments, specifically here in Kissimmee, Florida, right? So um, that's here in Osceola County, right? So I'll use it interchangeably. Both St. Cloud and Kissimmee are located here in Osceola County. Osceola County is the county that's underneath Orlando, which is Orange County. Orlando is in Orange County, and you know this is the heart of it. This is the community that our relocation clients are considering in buying their next home. So this is not anything that's trending. This is something that has been ongoing since 2014, about 12 years now. And I mean, it's not a trend. It's clearly not a trend. It is an uh, up and coming transformation of everything in and around the city, right? So if you're watching this and you're thinking about relocating your family to Central Florida, this is what it means for you specifically, right? Like, you're not just moving to a place, we have all the reasons, right? The good weather is one of the top 10 reasons why people move here. For business owner, great taxes, right? And high income earners, great taxes is another one of the top 10 reasons, right? But when people ask me about the slowdown in the market and the fact that homes are, yes, they're taking longer to sell than they did 2, 3, 4 years ago, and they're asking like, hey, how are things moving? The truth still remains that you're potentially moving into one of the fastest growing economic corridors in the southeastern United States, right? And this matters for several reasons. Just so you're aware, like, not only are people relocating from out of state to Central Florida, but we have people, and I know a lot of people refer to Miami as the sixth borough of New York, because a lot of people are moving down to Miami. We have big companies who have fled to Miami. We have Grant Cardone Capital out there, Meta, Amazon, everybody coming to Miami. But believe it or not, we have a lot of people coming up from Miami. So from Florida to Florida relocation. People are still coming to Central Florida because they see the potential and the economic boost that's occurring as a result. So NeoCity sits adjacent to America's unique spaceport, the seaport, the airport, right, and the rail hub, which the Sunrail runs right along NeoCity. It's 20 minutes away from Orlando's International Airport, um, less than a mile from the Florida Turnpike, and the Kissimmee Gateway Airport and Sunrail is right nearby, right? So from Kissimmee, you're roughly about, for those of you who know of and have heard of the Lake Nona area, which is southeast Orlando, right? You're about 25 minutes to Lake Nona, and from there about 20 minutes to Walt Disney World. And then of course within reach of one of the most connected transportation ecosystems in the country, right? So there's a lot of high paying jobs, right? So business owners bringing in, migrating their businesses into the state is very healthy. But because of NeoCity, a lot of high paying jobs are coming into the region. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's something to the tune of 16,000 jobs. And then as a result of that, all that movement and stimulation into the heart of Central Florida is gonna increase home values, right? The infrastructure is going to continue to grow, right? The restaurants, retail, the schools, as part of the infrastructure alone, right? Not only are more schools being built inside of newly developed master plan communities, but um, we have Osceola Regional Medical Center, St. Cloud Regional Medical Centers, a whole bunch of Advent Health clinics and centers opening up throughout the region. And that's just all creating more jobs that are on demand, right? Such as nursing, healthcare, so on and so forth. Now technology, the not only are the property values going to be preserved, but they're going to remain slowly but surely getting stronger, right? So the median listing price in Osceola County, Florida, as of April of 2026, for example, has been 417,000. So the low 400,000s, right? And that number is definitely going to look different in the next 3, 5, 10 years out, right? Historically, property values in Florida, specifically larger assets, right? Ultra luxury, multifamily, have doubled every 10 years, regardless of what has happened periodically in between in the Florida market. So if you're choosing or considering Florida as somewhere to plant roots for your family, that context matters a whole lot. Okay. So from a pure real estate standpoint, what we're watching is the overall median home price across the Orlando metropolitan statistical area, right? So that includes Osceola County as well, and it's currently held as of late 2025 in the high 300,000. So 385,000, an all-time high in the market, and at the same time, the inventory has risen in Osceola County as well, right? So we are currently, about 5,698 homes on the market recently, which is up about 2.7% compared to last year. Now, what does that mean? Basically, it means we are in a window right now that it's basically a buyer favorable environment, right? There's more inventory, there's more negotiating room than we've seen in years. And that window being open doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever, but it's going to be shifting on a monthly basis. And I'm going to give you an example of a home that we were looking at that was appears to have been intentionally um, uh, underpriced to procure a quick sale, because in this case the seller has already purchased their home and they were wanting, and strategically I think it was very smart on their end, to offload their property fairly quickly. So when I noticed that, I had some buyers coming in from out of state who were not only able to look at new construction, but also and specifically go up against new construction and combat all of the buyer incentives, builder incentives, and the bonuses, right, that they are able to get from a builder right now. They were also able to negotiate from the seller, with the seller willing to contribute towards their purchase. Um, with the seller willing to contribute towards their purchase in a substantial enough amount that they can choose between either option, right? So that's something to look for, especially with the location. Just south of Lake Nona is a location that is going to be strong um, in the years to come, and is only going to grow a lot faster than all the other development that's happening here in St. Cloud. So, for those of you who are agents watching this, I want you to think about what was given to you just now, right? You have a factual, compelling, and professionally positioned story to tell relocation buyers who are reaching out, right? You can introduce them to the concept of what NeoCity is, why it matters, what it's going to mean over the long term values, and why Osceola County isn't just a bedroom community anymore. It's literally becoming a global technology destination. And then in the ripple of that, right? For example, something that we'll touch up on another live in the near future is the project in Tampa, where you're going to have the short-term rentals, the residences, and also the ability to purchase the property with 100% in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, right? So agents, you're going to be able to express the authority, the expertise behind this information, and everything that's going to make the clients trust you for staying up to date and helping them with one of the biggest financial decisions they're going to be making in their lives, right? And it starts with knowing your markets a little bit deeper, the markets around you here in the state of Florida, and just getting involved and knowing who to talk to and where to get your information, right? If your current brokerage is just, this is for agents on a side note, if your current brokerage is not equipping you with this kind of intelligence and positioning, that's something worth speaking about, and we can definitely connect on a confidential conversation. Okay, so we're going to be going much deeper on this in increments on a day-to-day basis. Every single day this summer I'm going to be live at 12:30. We're going to unpack a different layer of what's happening here in Central Florida, around Central Florida, and beyond. And this is just day one. I'm glad you're here. If you had the opportunity to tune in, if you're considering moving to Central Florida, I'd love to have a real conversation with you. No pressure, no pitch. We have a fully dedicated relocation guide to give you for absolutely free. And it'll just be an honest conversation about what fits your family, what the next season in your life is calling for, and you can book a free strategy call with me directly at the link in the description. If you're a real estate agent, the link will also be available there. If you feel like you've outgrown where you're at, you can stay with us on either end as an active agent or referral agent. Um, because simply put, we're building something that I think you're going to want to be a part of. All right. So again, I am Robert Kenneth Morillo with Aroa Real Estate, where we're trusted by CEOs and designed for you. We're going to see you again at 12:30 p.m. Tomorrow afternoon. And if you have anything that can be answered, any curiosity questions that came up during this live, feel free to drop it in the comments. Feel free to check out the links in the description, and we'll be live again tomorrow afternoon. Let's see, how do we end this here? Oh, end stream right there. End.